Keeping your URSA Cine immersive camera sturdy is the key to a great experience on Apple Vision Pro.
But let's be real, not everyone besides Hugh has an arm car with a techno crane or a helicopter with a shot overhead just laying around.
So, what do? We fix it in post. And today, I will show you the exact techniques I use to stabilize Blackmagic URSA Cine immersive footage in DaVinci Resolve Fusion. Here's a real-world example. We hard-mounted the camera to the back of the pickup truck for our upcoming immersive narrative film. I will walk you through how to clean that up and then check the result directly inside Apple Vision Pro with a display LUT we provide. And for those of you working in a bigger post pipeline, I will also cover how to export EXR sequence with an Apple ILPD metadata as a VFX pool for complex immersive shot, so your editor or VFX style has everything they need to handle the really challenging work. And if you are shooting on a Canon VR180 system or even a consumer side-by-side camera rig, don't worry, we will also cover how to stabilize handheld VR180 footage without a gimbal. So, whether you are rescuing old shaky VR180 shot or making sure your moving URSA Cine immersive clip meet Apple standard, this tutorial is for you. Let's dive in. Before we dive into DaVinci Resolve, let me stress this. Moving an immersive camera is an art form. There's nothing wrong with keeping it locked down on a tripod. In fact, 99% of our original films are shot stationary.
Why?
Because without a proper motion control system, any move you make is more likely to make your audience motion sick than impressive.
I don't like the angle of this camera anymore. It doesn't look level.
So my advice is to master the art of tripod before you even thinking about moving the URSA Cine Immersive. For our vision shoot though, we have no choice. We hard mounted the URSA Cine Immersive on speed rail at the back of a pickup truck. And of course, Murphy's Law. Weather and time wasn't on our side. We were racing daylight and my camera op literally threw his jacket over the rig as a rain cover just so we can keep rolling on one of the most important scenes. There's no operator once the camera is mounted. We trigger it remotely and monitor from a chase car, as you can see here. The truck is flying down the bumpy country road. The talents have to deliver a long take of dialogues, and the physics are working against us. With no stabilizing hand, some shit is simply inevitable. And in the middle of all this, the director, Kitty, isn't worried about Michael Jitter. She is worried about performance, pacing, and the story.
That was my bad, guys. Failing.
That's why we have to fix the shake in post. If you are a filmmaker on a budget, I know you have been there as well. You take the shot you can get and you deal with the rest later. And here is what the broad clip looked like. It is shaky. Now let's jump into DaVinci Resolve and see how we can stabilize it. First thing first, let's learn how to review your result inside Apple Vision Pro. This step is crucial for all Apple immersive video editing and VFX work. Jump into the Fusion page and you will notice we have left and right eyes coming in as two separate media in and media out nodes. To view them properly in stereo 3D, we need to combine them. After media out 1, hit Shift plus spacebar, type combine and add a combine node. Connect the right eye to the green input of that node. Then in the inspector, set it to layers. Now put on your Apple Vision Pro, open Apple Immersive Video Utility, and bring your Resource Fusion window into your Vision Pro. Go to Workspace, stream to Vision Pro, and select your device. Finally, put dot number 3 on the combine node. This sends the video feed directly into your Vision Pro. You should now see your footage as a proper 3D immersive 180 video, and this is how you QC your stabilization. If you want a deeper walkthrough of this entire process, check out my previous tutorial on Fusion VFX Basic. I cover all of this step by step there. Now, one quick tip. By default, Fusion only shows a flat log image in the viewer, and let's be honest, it is not pretty. To make it easier to watch, you can apply a display LUT. Right-click in the viewer, LUT, Blackmagic Design, Blackmagic Gen 5 Film to Video. That gives you a basic Rec 709 conversion. Functional, but boring. Personally, I prefer using a custom LUT for monitoring. It gives me a more cinematic look right out of the gate there in the viewport, and it makes both the client and the director a lot happier to look at. Look at the differences. Instantly more cinematic. This LUT I'm using is calibrated specifically for the URSA Cine Immersive with a balanced teal and orange tone that feel natural in HDR. You can even render straight out with just a light color correction and your result will already be better than 90% of the stuff out there. So if you're interested, this LUT and the demo assets I'm showing in this tutorial are all available on my Patreon. You will find a down link in the description down below. Alright, now that we have got our prep work done and solid way to review inside Apple Vision Pro, let's move on to the fun part, stabilization. If you check the size of the footage, each eye is 8160 by 7200 pixels. It's a lot of resolution to track and stabilize. And if you're on a slower machine, this process can be painfully slow. So step 1 is to resize the footage. So hit Shift plus play bar and type resize and add that node after media in 1. In the inspector, check keep frame aspect and bring the width down to around 1K. This lighter proxy makes stabilization way faster. Next, add a panel map node right after the resize, set it to convert from Apple Immersive lens space into VR180. If you have seen my other tutorial right here, you will remember that starting in Resource 20, VR180 stabilization is natively supported, and that is a big deal for us. Now, add a Spherical stabilizer node. You will find it in under Add Tools, VR, Spherical Stabilizer. Crank both the stabilizing strength and smoothing all the way to the right, then track forward and backward. Since we are only working with just a 1K proxy here, it will complete super fast. Once the tracking is done, copy the same panel map node we used earlier and paste it right after Spherical Stabilizer. Switch it back from VR180 to Apple Immersive lens space. Now, split the viewer. Show the original on the left and the stabilized result on the right. Hit play and you will see the differences. The right view is much smoother compared to the shaky left view. Great! Now disable the resize node to bring the footage back into full 8K resolution. Copy this whole train of nodes, paste it and hook it up to your right eye media in 2. And just like that, you have got a stabilized Apple Immersive video footage for both eyes. But is it really stabilized? We wouldn't know until we see it inside Apple Vision Pro. Go ahead and render that clip out as an AIVU file, then load it into Apple Immersive Video Utility or just airdrop it straight onto your Apple Vision Pro. Now check the result. And here is the surprise. It actually looks worse than the original shaky version. Yup, worse. And this is where most tutorials stop. They leave you with a result that feels terrible in the headset. So let's slow down and figure out what is going wrong. The stabilization method itself isn't wrong here. The problem comes from the situation. Remember, we are driving down on a curvy country road with the URSA Cine Immersive hard mounted to the back of the truck. From the viewer, the truck is anchor point, and the two actors are riding on it, moving with it, and related to the camera, they are pretty stable. It feels just like riding in a car. You don't get sick if you're focused on the car interior or the person next to you. But once we stabilize, the relationship gets destroyed. Result analyze the entire frame, including the moving background outside of the truck, and average the motion. The algorithm smooth out all the vibration, but in the process, it starts to panning the camera left and right off axis from the truck wheel movement. And that result feels exactly like staring at your phone in a fast moving car. You get sick almost instantly. So how do we fix that? We lock the pan axis to the truck. In other words, the camera should stay connected to the truck and the truck carry all of us forward. Here's how it works. Go back to Spherical Stabilizer at frame 0 and switch into single view mode. Right click on the viewer and turn on guides. Then show guide, draw a crosshair right on the truck review mirror right here. And that is our anchor point. Now insert a keyframe on offset rotation Y, play through the clip and adjust the value to keep the mirror lined up with the crosshair. It's a bit of a manual work, but it's the only way to keep that natural relationship between the camera and the truck and the subject. When you're finished, open the spine panel, click offset rotation Y, zoom in, select all the keyframes and hit smooth to clean it up. Then copy everything you did on the left eye over to the right eye. Render it out. Again, please review the result inside your Apple Vision Pro. If you want to push the stabilization even further, I recommend trying the Revision Effects Release OFX plugin for DaVinci Resolve. It is not free, but it's powerful because it actually understands fisheye stabilization. Here's how it works. Add the Release Superfish node right after Media in 1. In the control, make sure your GPU is turned on. Set the project mode to fisheye and view mode to set circle over source. Next, dial in the field of view to match the URSA Cine Immersive, which is 210 degrees. Adjust the radius to about 0.52 so the red circle nearly covers the entire lens circle. Now open the Spherical Stabilization control and run the motion track. The plugin does the heavy lifting here and is pretty straightforward to use. Once you have finished the left eye, just copy the effect across the right eye and you are done. What if you are dealing with a really difficult shot? Something so complex it's impossible to stabilize in DaVinci Resolve? Or maybe you need to surgically replace background element in a more advanced VFX package like Fusion Standalone, Mistika Boutique, Nuke, Blender, or even Unreal? Or maybe you just want to take advantage of a PC rendering farm with more GPU's horsepower. And this is where you need to know the next critical operation as an immersive editor. How to deliver immersive EXRs with camera ILPD metadata. That's included the gyro and the motion data to a VFX HUD for professional treatment. So let's do a proper VFX pull on this shot right now. VFX artists will expect your delivery in linear color space. So step 1, head over to the color page, drop in a color space transform node, and set your input to match the camera, which is Blackmagic Design Y-Gamut Gen 5 for color space and Blackmagic Film Gen 5 for gamma. Then set the output color space to ACES and the output gamma to linear. Next, turn off the lens edge mask so your compositor has the full image circle to work with. In the color page, go to the 3D tab, click the edge mask icon and select none. Now jump to the deliver page, we choose custom, individual clip, set the format to EXR, codecs to RGB half zip to save some space, and make sure you are rendering at source resolution. For stereoscopic 3D, we shall let you render both eye as a multi-view EXR, which is the new standard, but not every compositor software support that format yet. For maximum compatibility, I would recommend choose separate files so the left and right eye export individually. That way, the VFX artist will have full control. And because the ILPD metadata travel with the EXR sequence, you will still have everything you need. Gyro data, lens profile, motion data. So once the shot comes back from the VFX HUD, you can reproject, defish, and finish that immersive video as an Apple Immersive video on Vision Pro. I know, this sounds complicated, but here's why it matters. Even if you are just a one-man or one-woman crew today, learning this workflow means you are preparing yourself to scale up, to be ready when that bigger project or collaboration comes along. And for the professionals who are watching, sharing and standardizing workflow like this internally and externally is how we save endless round of back and forth, waste time and waste money. And if this helped you, share this video with your team. The more we align on this best practice, the faster and smoother immersive production will grow for everyone. Okay, now let's talk about something way more common, VR180. For this shot on the Canon R5C or R7 with the Dual Fisheye lens is the bread and butter for many of you who love creating VR 3D 180 content, even if you are not doing this professionally. And the reality is, in most locations, you are not allowed to bring in a tripod or a gimbal. Handheld is often the only option you've got. But here's the problem. The Canon stabilization in the URSA VR utility is painfully slow, and honestly, most of the time the results just aren't good enough. If you are using a gimbal, it's okay, but handheld, no. My advice is turn it off and let's learn how to stabilize properly inside DaVinci Resolve Fusion. Now, if you are new to the VR180 toolset inside DaVinci Resolve 20, I highly recommend going back and rewatch my in-depth tutorial. But just to recap here, right-click on your clip, go to Clip Attribute, set Stereoscopic Mode to Side by Side, and set the projection format to equal rectangular 180 degrees. Once you do that, you will see the clip now has the little 3D icon right here, and it fills the frame at 4069 by 4069. And here's a quick tip. If you are on a Mac, you can also use Vision Pro to preview VR180 footage directly on a non-Apple Immersive video timeline. It's not perfect, but it works, and suddenly your Vision Pro becomes your VR editing headset. No more extra purchases needed. Now head over to Fusion page, right-click in the viewer and load my display LUT for an instant cinematic transformation. This is shot during our trip to France, not a professional work, and we are just visiting a famous French castle as a tourist for a location scouting. So I am handholding my Canon R5C here. Even with a steady hand and years of VR camera operation experience, you can clearly see the wobbling right here. So let's fix it. Just like we did with the URSA Cine Immersive, add a spherical stabilizer after media in one, but this time we want to mimic the look of a lock-off tripod. To do that, max out the stabilizing strength all the way, but reduce the smoothing all the way down, which lock the camera in place. Track forward and let it run. Now let's compare. Put the original in viewer number 1 and the stabilized version on viewer number 2. Watch the horizon. It's rock solid now. Resolve does an amazing job on stabilizing handheld VR180 footage. Don't stress about the edge artifact right here you notice. I will give you a lens mask you can use to cover it easily. Or if you are finishing this for the Apple Immersive video delivery, you can follow my other tutorials on integrating VR180 footage back into an AIV timeline and use the built-in edge mask to feather out those edges perfectly for Vision Pro delivery. But hey, don't go yet. It's not perfect. And I want to teach you the best method so you can get the most comfortable result inside your Apple Vision Pro. If you review the one we just did inside your Vision Pro, you will still notice minor wobbling. The horizon line is drifting somehow, and even a small amount of that motion that can make people feel sick. Why did this happen? In this shot right here, Kitty and a lot of tourists around her are moving through the foreground. And that movement throws off the spherical tracker. Remember, this tracker is an AI. It doesn't know the difference between a building and a tourist head. You still need to guide Resolve by telling it what to track and what not to track. Here's how. I will use a polygon tool to draw a shape over the horizon, right on the tree line and the castle building here that we know are static. Be very careful not to include any moving head in the matte or it will corrupt the track. Inverted polygon, so the horizon is the only part selected. With VR180 and 360 footage, the horizon is usually clear, so use it to your advantage. Next, add a matte control node right after the first spherical stabilizer. Connect the polygon node to the garbage matte input. Now you are only feeding that static horizon area into the next step. Drop in another spherical stabilizer after the matte control, set strength to max again, but the smoothing all the way down, then track forward again. Once it's complete, disable the polygon and the matte control node because we don't need that anymore. Now compare. Look at the first stabilized version versus the second. Inside Vision Pro, the difference is obvious. The horizon line is now rock solid and the whole shot feels much more natural to watch. This trick works everywhere. FPV VR180, drone shot, bow shot, you name it. And if one pass isn't enough, you can isolate the other side of the horizon and run another track. Each step will improve the result further. One thing to keep in mind though, every time you apply spherical stabilizer, you are losing a little bit of image quality. The effects stack, and by the third pass, you will start to see noticeable softening. Personally, I try not to go beyond 3, but for Apple Vision Pro delivery, I will always take stable, comfortable shot over sharp but shaky footage. If you join the recent Apple Create Immersive Media Experience for visionOS event in Cupertino, California, or remotely through livestream, you already know how much emphasis Apple puts on smooth camera movement, or even no movement at all. And that is exactly why Kimchi and I put so much work into making this in-depth tutorial for you, to help you reach the Apple standard, and to help you create immersive film that truly shine. But here's the sad reality. Long, detailed, professional tutorial like this one right here don't really do well on YouTube. The algorithm doesn't push them. It puts quick AI shortcut and surface level fixes. Those might feel easy, but they wouldn't help you to grow as a filmmaker or as an artist. Don't fall for that social media trap. So do Kimchi a favor, share this with a fellow immersive creator who's trying to level up. Pass it on. Keep practicing. Keep experimenting. Push the boundary of storytelling in 3D. Tell human-centric story that will inspire the next generation of creators. And don't let AI or social media shortcuts strip away your craft. Pay attention to every single pixel. Review and re-review your work inside Apple Vision Pro. Take the time to make art that is unique, personal, and impactful. And that's how we move this medium forward together. I will see you in the next tutorial or in the next immersive experience. Ciao.